Let's study about autonomic nervous system. This is one of the most important topic and a bit confusing one. Autonomic nervous system is divided into two: sympathetic and parasympathetic. When I consider sympathetic, it gets activated during emergency situation, mainly during fight, fright, and flight. This is our basics, and parasympathetic is mainly it gets activated during rest or is used in digestion. Therefore, we consider this as for rest and digest, whereas sympathetic for fight, fright, and flight. Now, coming to from where does this fibers origin? When I consider sympathetic nervous system, the fibers mainly origin from thoracolumbar region. This is considered as adrenergic system because the neurotransmitter which is there in sympathetic is noradrenaline, except in sweat glands where it is acetylcholine, and the receptors are alpha and beta. Whereas when I consider parasympathetic, the fibers origin from craniosacral region. It is considered as cholinergic system because the neurotransmitter used here is acetylcholine and the receptors are muscarinic and nicotinic. I have discussed only about parasympathetic. So, okay, how to remember parasympathetic? Just remember 3 C's. That is cholinergic, secondary messenger is cyclic GMP, which is not that important, and the fibers origin from craniosacral region. As I told, parasympathetic system, the receptors, it is mainly divided into muscarinic and nicotinic. Nicotinic receptors are present in neuromuscular junction and autonomic ganglion, whereas muscarinic receptor, there are mainly 5: M1, M2, M3, M4 and M5, out of which only M1, M2 and M3 are important. M1, M4 and M5, it is present in the brain, that is CNS and gastric glands. M2 is present in heart, and rest all is M3, that is in urinary tract, in exocrine glands, in eyes, in airways, in gut. So how to remember this is, first important thing for us is brain and stomach, that is food. So first important is CNS and gastric glands. Rest comes our heart. We listen to our heart later when our stomach is full and when brain is functioning. So basically first is CNS and gastric gland, and second is heart. Third comes restall system. As I have told in the beginning that parasympathetic action is mainly rest and digest. So muscarinic action, which is nothing but parasympathomimetics, which is nothing but cholinergic, everything is same. So in simple words, when I consider M1, M4 and M5 which is present in brain, it helps in procognitive, that is it helps us in learning, causes excitation, and improves our focus. When I consider M2 receptor which is present in heart, it causes bradycardia. When I consider M, I told it's about rest and digest. Therefore, rest, it decreases our heart rate. When I consider M3, which is present in bladder, it causes bladder contraction, that is causes urination. On exocrine system, it increases secretion. As I told, it increases helps us in digestion. Therefore, increases secretion. When I consider eyes, it causes meiosis. When I consider airways, it causes bronchoconstriction. When I consider gut motility, it causes peristalsis, that is helps in digestion again. Remember, opposite of meiosis is mydriasis. Opposite of accommodation is loss of accommodation. So basically the function of cholinergic is it causes meiosis, it increases secretion, and it causes bronchoconstriction. Easy way to remember is, we can see everything here is BC, that is it causes bradycardia, it causes bladder contraction, it causes bronchoconstriction. So we can remember it like that. Now coming to the drugs. Direct muscarinic agonists are the drugs which directly act on the receptor, and indirect are the one which inhibit the esterase enzyme. We know that esterase enzyme is the one which will degrade acetylcholine. Therefore, indirect muscarinic agonists are the one which inhibits that enzyme so that the level of acetylcholine increases. Now, how to remember this? We can see that all the direct muscarinic agonists, they have the name CHOL, that is chol in it, that is bethanechol, methacholine, carbachol, pilocarpine. So everything has chol, which indicates it cholinergic. Whereas when I consider indirect muscarinic agonist, it has stig in it: neostigmine, pyridostigmine, physostigmine, rivastigmine, donepezil and edrophonium. So the one which has STIG stig is indirect and one which has col is direct acting. Now here are few drugs and few uses of it. So first coming to a direct muscarinic agonist, pethenacol. It is used in the treatment of urinary retention. As I told that the action of cholinergic is BC, that it causes bladder contraction. Therefore it helps in urination. Therefore it is used in the treatment of urinary retention. How to remember this is B. B is like something related to, it mimics P. Therefore B causes P, used in the treatment of urinary retention. Coming to carbachol, again carbachol, you can remember C for cornea. Therefore this is a main drug which is used in glaucoma, that is it decreases intraocular pressure and helps in the treatment of glaucoma. You can remember C for cornea, something related to eyes. When I consider methacholine, the name itself indicates methacholine challenge test. This is basically, as I told, again cholinergic action is BC, which causes bronchoconstriction. Therefore it increases asthma or wheezing. Therefore it is used in asthma challenge test or methacholine challenge test. When I consider pilocarpine, again the action P for pupil, it means that its action is on the pupil. Then rest of its action is it causes salivation, it causes lacrimation, it causes sweating. So we can remember this by remembering that all the gross stuff happens in pillow. Therefore it is used in the treatment of Sjogren syndrome, in which there is problem of salivation and lacrimation, used in the treatment of dry eyes, and it causes sweating, which is useful in diagnosis of cystic fibrosis. Now coming to indirect muscarinic agonist. Indirect muscarinic agonists are the one which inhibits the enzyme esterase. Coming to it, first one is edrophonium. Now the first three drugs, that is edrophonium, neostigmine and pyridostigmine. There is always confusing that which is used for diagnosis and which is used for treatment. One way to remember this is, remember alphabet E comes first. Therefore first is diagnosis. Or else you can just remember that edrophonium, phone your doctor to diagnose myasthenia gravis. This is you can remember it in either ways. Therefore edrophonium is used only for diagnosis of myasthenia gravis, not in the treatment. When I consider neostigmine and pyridostigmine, these are used in treatment of myasthenia gravis. One more important thing to remember here is these are the drugs which are water soluble, not lipid. Therefore neostigmine, no crossing blood brain barrier, no more myasthenia gravis. When I consider pyridostigmine, here the mnemonic is get rid of myasthenia gravis. The name itself indicates it. We have to remember that when I consider physostigmine, the name as SO, which means soluble. These drugs are the one which is lipid soluble. Therefore it crosses blood brain barrier, and it is used in the treatment of atropine overdose or belladonna poisoning, whereas neostigmine and pyridostigmine does not cross blood brain barrier. You have to just remember SO, which means soluble. Therefore only physostigmine is lipid soluble. Lipid soluble is nothing but hydrophobic, or it has no charge, just side point. Then coming to final, donepezil and rivastigmine. How to remember this? These are the main drug which we use in case of Alzheimer's disease. You can remember that I don't remember. Don't is nothing but donepezil, and rivastigmine as revisit your memory. So something related to Alzheimer's. Just remember that physostigmine is the only one which is lipid soluble. Obviously donepezil and rivastigmine is lipid soluble, therefore it is used in CNS, whereas neostigmine and pyridostigmine is not lipid soluble, therefore we can't use it for atropine overdose. Coming to final drug, that is anticholinergic or muscarinic antagonist. So coming to this, I have just taken few drugs. First coming to it is atropine. So when I consider atropine, it is the main drug which acts on all the receptor. A for atropine, A for all. It acts on M1, M2 and M3. It is used in treatment of organophosphate poisoning. Organophosphate poisoning, it is mainly cholinergic poisoning. Therefore it is used in the treatment of cholinergic poisoning or unstable bradycardia. As I told that cholinergic are the one which causes BC, that is bradycardia. Therefore anticholinergic or antimuscarinic are the one which causes tachycardia. As we can see in atropine name, OP indicates it is used in the treatment of OP poisoning. Coming to scopolamine, it is the main drug which we use in problem of motion sickness, that is in treatment of vomiting, vertigo, etc. caused during motion sickness. You can remember it as scopolamine instead of scopolamine. Coming to benztropine and trihexyphenidyl, these are main anti-Parkinsonism drugs. So these are the drugs which can cause blood-brain barrier. Since it can cross blood-brain barrier, it can used in treatment of extrapyramidal side effects. You can remember it as like trihexyphenidyl. In its name itself, exp indicates used in the treatment of extrapyramidal side effects. When I consider benztropine, you can remember like benz car crosses blood brain barrier. Therefore anything which crosses blood brain barrier is used in the treatment of extrapyramidal side effects, or it can cause the side effects. Coming to ipratropium, it is the main drug which we use in COPD or asthma. We can remember it as I pray, I breathe. Therefore used in the treatment of COPD or asthma. As I told that cholinergic is the one which causes BC, that is bronchoconstriction. Anticholinergic causes dilation. Therefore it is used in the treatment of COPD or asthma. When I consider oxybutynin, again the name itself indicates OB, which means used in the treatment of overactive bladder. When I told cholinergic, which causes BC, that is bladder constriction, therefore it is used, anticholinergic or antimuscarinic is used in the treatment of overactive bladder. Coming to last and most important drug is glycopyrrolate, which is used as pre-anesthetic medication. You can just remember it's like the name has late in it, but this is a drug which is used prior or in early case, that is used as pre-anesthetic. Yep, that's it. Thank you.